Evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Sunday Fastball with yours truly, Crusty Canuck, Fred Stockman, and Chris Semchuk, the Veterans Veritas. Adam's not with us this week. However, he's with us in spirit. This is the Sunday Fastball. Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Crusty Canuck. With me is Fred Stockman and Chris Semchuk, Veterans Veritas, or better known as the Major. Adam is not with us today. He is on location. However, we will carry on as if he was. Gentlemen, how has everybody been this week?
Very good.
Right on.
Doing all right?
Just all right?
Yeah, all right.
Not bad. Hot Pocket, perhaps?
Hot Pocket.
Hot Pocket. How you doing, Mini-Me? Hot Pocket? Yes. So, gentlemen, interesting week in Canadian politics and international politics, too. We can start off by saying, what is going on with Israel and Palestine?
Ooh. You guys have on both sides, right?
Well, that's the thing. I guess because we're fortunate enough to be in Canada, we don't have to worry about that squabbling over biblical lands, or who said what back here, or who did what back there, or who did this and all that. But it just seems like a lot of this stuff is coming to surface. And
want me to bring the statistics on that, on the funding of both sides?
Yeah, sure, Fred, go ahead.
New York Post, this is according to the Biden reversing Trump's policy, quietly ramping up Palestinian aid. It says the U.S. State Department notified Congress of their intent to deliver $75 million in aid to Palestine. And then, according to National Review, the truth about U.S. aid to Israel, the U.S. government is, on paper, sending $4 billion in military aid to Israel. So both sides are being funded by the United States government, folks. Mm-hmm. That is not a conspiracy. That is not some military industrial complex is doing all this stuff and they're trying to make money. No, it's true. It is true. They're definitely doing it. So, you're welcome.
Chris.
I'd rather not talk about that particular scenario, but I can reflect on Fred's statistical analysis of the point as it relates to my personal experiences on my first tour in Afghanistan. When I was there, at one particular point in the war, a particular document came across my desk that flashed up the numbers of just bullets, ammo, and gas for a day of operations of just American assets in theater for Afghanistan, okay, of dollar value per day. And I can't say the number, obviously, for operational reasons, of bullets, like ammo and gas. And when I saw the dollar value of a day in Afghanistan, I was like, and it made me realize, amongst other things that I saw over there, that it's all about the money, folks. So that reflects back to what I heard Fred say of both sides being funded by the United States of America, where freedom cost $1.05. Fuck yeah, America.
Fuck yeah. That's right.
I love that song.
Can I hand it to the geniuses at South Park for putting that together, right?
Hilarious. I haven't even seen the entire film. I just, at work one time, my boss just put that on and we listened to it on repeat for an hour.
America, fuck yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, bring out your inner Cartman. You guys, exactly. Right? You guys, kids be a dodo.
Yeah.
Well, my perspective is this simple. It's like, okay, they've been at odds for each other for years. Israel, Palestine. When you look at the movement of societies at that time, pre-biblical eras, everything was still tribal. Now, I'm trying to reflect back on my ancient high school history, right? You look at everything in that area was very, very tribal. even prior to the Romans. Okay, so Europe, that part of far West Asia, was very nomadic, right? Tribes of people here, tribes of people there. So, because of my thoughts on religion, I would say there's been tons of people that have come and gone through there throughout the centuries, regardless of what may be considered holy, what isn't holy. And like you both nailed it too, the United States and Canada and Britain and France have constantly funded, predominantly the Israeli sides as well as other sides too, to try to bridge a certain peace. But I also remember in the 80s when it came to Yasser Arafat doing his things. And okay, I guess they don't want peace. I guess they don't want this. I don't know what to think. I would just say, as a Canadian, it's none of my damn business.
Well, and Fred kind of alluded to it there by mentioning Orange bad. And I mean, I don't know what happened with the Abrahamic Accords, and that was all signed. And anyway, I don't want to go too deep into this stuff, but it's just kind of amazing to me how there seemed to be some good marching towards real peace in the Middle East, and a lot of work done towards that regard that was dismissed under the Trump administration. And that's all gone all of a sudden. So things that make you go,
Oh, big time. A lot of humming, amplified.
And then as it relates to our government, because this is a Canadian cast, I'd just like to know where our government's coming from and why our government still hasn't really come out against Iran and what's going on against Iran, the main funder of sponsored terrorism. And I'm sure Iran and the Iran Republican Guard sponsors Hamas, and I'm sure there's a lot of
Taliban alike.
Yep, and the shoot down of the Ukrainian Airlines, and how many Canadians were killed in that incident, and Justin Trudeau's brother doing come on, hello.
Well, it's all business to them. You and I can verify that very well, Chris. It's all about business to them, and who's getting paid what to do what. The Liberals have never ever. They've always talked a big game, but they fail to lace up when it comes to any world affairs. Now, personally, I think we shouldn't get involved. Fine. Whether they're Israeli descendants here or Jewish descendants here or Palestinian descendants here, fine. They should get along. Right. But then again, it's like here in Canada, we can't have people go to churches because of the health risks. We can't people go to rodeos because of health risks. We can't have people go to restaurants because of health risks. And yet you can have all the Palestinian Canadians protest in every major city in this country, waving the flags, some with masks, no masks, and where are the police officers enforcing the crackdowns on that? Where are the police officers making sure that everyone's safe and everyone's maintaining their social distance? I'd be curious to see how many tickets have been handed out and fines been handed out during these protests. Yeah, I would say so, because there's nothing in the mainstream media except for a couple of Twitter feeds, maybe something from the Rebel and TNC in the next couple of days. But mainstream media now is talking about the whole vaccine rollout, and General Danny Fortin getting his pee-pee slapped for something. Oh, what did he do? So, it's just it's a shit show. It's a shit show when it comes to priorities and looking after people here.
Yeah.
All right. Look at our allies. America has the ability to get their vaccines out to people. Britain is almost done. And now we're still sitting on our hands worrying about, 35% or 50% or 75%, as Dr. Tam, I look like a man, was trying to say. All right. And then.
Yeah. And let's not forget on the vaccine file, too. Trudeau was in bed with China to develop the vaccine with that. One of the vaccine development files was that, and China backed it. Anyway, it's all too much for me.
It's all a shit show. And I think it's relatively too much for anybody when you think about it, right? Here are these people that are appointed and elected to do things. And they always talk, like I say, they talk a good game, but they fail to lace up. And luckily, we have a few politicians that are willing to face off and go into the corners and forecheck. But then again, they also get penalized too, i.e., Randy Hillier, you know, Mr. Bamber, you know, Derek Sloan, not to mention some other representatives that are on their way, especially in the provincial cabinets. The two individuals that stepped down here in Alberta, you know, they were kicked out of the caucus because they're against Kenny's ridiculous mandates too. So, you know, those guys are willing to do the forechecking, get the work out, get the puck out, get it up the ice. But, you know, what else do we see here? Like I said, mainstream media, they're talking about some allegation that happened to this general many moons ago. Apparently, that's still on yet. And even in question period today, they were talking about how the Liberal press secretary to the procurement minister, that's a mouthful, saying, oh, 50% of Canadians are vaccinated already, right? And yet there's only maybe 3.6% of Canadians that have the 2 doses. So how can 50% of Canadians be vaccinated already based on those numbers? You know, I'm not a mathematical genius, but I think he's off just a little bit.
Who can believe any numbers out of this government anymore? Anyway, like, anyway. Like, and this whole Fortan thing and anything coming out of D&D or I'm just really hoping that something coming out of D&D. I'm hoping some journalist, a Robert Fife or you know, Robert Fife, for anybody that doesn't remember, is the journalist at the National Post. That is it the National Post or is he Globe and Mail?
I think he's Globe and Mail and CTV. He does that.
He's Globe and Mail. So, but you know, he exposed the SNC Lavalin affair. You know, but an investigative journalist that still has some integrity out there actually starts investigating this D&D file, because enough is enough. Danny Fortin is just a symptom of a much deeper rot within D&D, and Mark Norman, the way he got thrown under the bus, of which General Vance got a raise out of that from this Liberal government, etc., etc. This is a web that's so deep. And just a quick plug for the video that I posted today on Veterans Voice, Chris Semchuk on YouTube with Dave Bona on methquin toxicity, which is the government poisoned troops for years in Canada, giving methquin for malaria prophylactic, and people have committed suicide. And anyway, just check out the video. I won't digress. So that's under D&D too. And it's a mess. The government's a mess. Canadian Forces and D&D is a mess. And this Danny Fortin, Major General Fortin, who was put in charge of the vaccine rollout, it's all smoke and mirrors. We will never find the truth unless there's an inquiry, which you were talking about politicians that are, you know, putting their stick to the ice and forechecking. This week, if I recall, Derek Sloan, and Randy Hillier provincially for MPP, Randy Hillier provincially put a request to have a provincial inquiry for it in Ontario, and Derek Sloan federally to put an inquiry forward against what's going on with the coronavirus crisis. We'll see if any other MPPs in Ontario provincially support him, or federally in the House of Commons support them. Do you think that'll happen?
No, because they all want to protect their jobs. They want to protect their investments and their interests, right? $183,000 plus perks, depending on your position, is quite a bit of cash to sacrifice in the name of proper democracy and real progress. But what do we know, right?
Yeah.
We don't know a goddamn thing.
I just controlled aircraft for a living, so
yeah. I dug holes, carried rucksack, go far. So, Fred, please give us the American perspective.
You know what's embarrassing is how I mean, like I showed a couple last fastball about how my friend and I got a news article written about us about
Yes.
what's really pathetic now is how the media basically has been covering the last, year, just in general, whether it's the coronavirus, whether it's rioting, whether it's Joe Biden, who is clearly senile and falling apart, and whether it's Justin Trudeau, who's an incredibly corrupt human being, or Jacinda Ardern, same situation there. It's just really disappointing how the media basically just does stupid crap all day. It's for lack of better words, it's just a giant circle jerk of just losers, and they can't seem to cover actual stories that you kind of need to know, because it might have been really useful to know some of the horrible practices that have been going on in the Canadian government. Maybe it would have been nice if the Hunter Biden story was let out and people could have seen that before they went to the ballot box, instead of it getting expressed on social media where most people get their news, which you shouldn't get your news from social media, but that's just how most people do now. So it's just disappointing. And I look at Canada, and you guys kind of look like a soft-core dictatorship right now. And that's not me being mean, but it's if you fly into Canada right now, if you're a Canadian citizen, you will get locked in a hotel for 2 weeks. That's nuts. Who could have expected Justin Trudeau to turn into a little Mussolini? But here we are. He is.
Here we are.
And
here we are. Exactly.
And then, on the Israel-Palestine thing, as someone who I consider myself a nationalist, I really don't care about other nations that much, besides the immediate circle of, other like-minded countries that have similar goals as America. Why do we care what Israel and Palestine do? Why does any American care about a bunch of rocks and sand? That's what this is. People are fighting over rocks and sand, and there is so much freaking blood on that small patch of land that we should really not care about. It is not our problem. We should not be sending money to these people. We should not be financing terrorism. We should not be financing the Israelis who then bomb those terrorists. These people should do things themselves. They don't need our money. The American tax dollar should not be paying for conflicts overseas.
But wait, Fred. There's the UN, and the UN is supposed to be bringing peace to the world.
Oh, the UN. Oh, no. How could
yes, our beloved UN.
The UN
the ultimate peacemakers, eh?
The UN has created the most failed states out of any organization. They let Rhodesia, they put sanctions on that nation, which was, for the most part, not really an apartheid state. Blacks were treated pretty good there. They destroyed South Africa and turned that to a third world country. They destroyed the situation in Cambodia, genocide there. They destroyed basically every situation. I believe it was the genocide in Uganda. They basically let that happen.
Rwanda.
Yeah,
Rwanda, yeah. Well, Idi Amin was no fucking gem either when he was the Ugandan dictator.
No. I'm not saying this.
Don't go there.
The UN sucks. The UN sucks at their job. And then, if I want to go even further, they've let all these endless conflicts happen in the Middle East and Africa. It's never going to end. These people, none of these countries actually exist. That's what people don't realize, is because all these people are actually just in tribes. So when the British and the French colonized all these countries, they just drew giant lines in between tribal centers, basically, and said, "Well, that's our territory now." So
but Fred, here's what you're forgetting, young man. You actually, for whatever reason, and we don't really know each other well yet. We're getting to know each other through this show, but you actually understand some history, my friend.
Yes,
that's the problem.
Yes, they want you to be ignorant too. They make you, when they educate you in school, it's not really education, it's just making you dumb. People, I've had this argument with one of my teachers before. He was talking about why education is so important. I'm like, yeah, but you guys teach us all this dumb crap that we could really live without, and leave out all the important details of the last 70 years. They teach you about ancient history for 4 years in school, but they completely ignore the last 70 years, which are probably the most important time in human history.
I would agree. Yeah, the 20th century alone, I think, is vital, especially to every working democracy out there. Right? Look at how people survived the Great Depression. Well before you had benefits, well before you had any kind of employment insurance or any kind of safety net for any social spectrum. Look how people survived prior to World War II. during the Great Depression, how a sense of community, now the proper sense of community, not the whole commune, let's have some flowers and smoke some weed and drink some dandelion wine and play by the river. I'm talking about shit. We need a bag of carrots, we need a bag of potatoes. Okay, Phil, can you grab this? I'll make sure we got the soil. I'll make sure we got water. Can your wife put together this? Can your husband do this? Stuff like that. Survival. And people overcame that. My grandparents overcame that. It just sucked. That result of that was a bloody conflict, probably the bloodiest in history. But they survived. And we have to remind ourselves here in North America, Canada, United States, and Mexico, how bloody fortunate we really are, right? To have this, and how bloody realistic it is to preserve this model, right? With proper freedom to go out and do what you want to do, right? Without hitting people taking their stuff. Shit simple. But there's still that power dynamic that comes from Joe Biden and Trudeau, whoever the Mexican president is now too. So
on the UN, I hate to dwell on this too much, but honestly, as patriots, we really need to get out of that. There's got to be some referendum on it. We shouldn't be giving those criminals money. They're criminals.
No, I agree. I believe Canada's place in the UN has been null and void. They tried so hard. Little Potato tried so hard to get a seat. Oh, to get a seat to do what? He's not even qualified to lead a crap to a toilet. How do you think he's going to fare when it comes to doing anything united?
Well, and the UN, and I mean, I agree with you 100%, Fred, based on my experiences in Afghanistan, especially the second part of my first tour there when I was at ISAF Joint Command Headquarters. So the operational headquarters at North Kaya. Well, forget that. Even when I was at RC South headquarters in the JOC, you're working right with the NGOs and IGO desks in the JOC, and you're seeing the buffoonery in the non-governmental organizations and the international governmental organizations are
all the hobgobbling.
The money that they're making, those folks there. Anyway, I won't digress. That's not the purpose of this show. I'll probably do an interview or something on my channel on some point on it. The waste, the fraud, waste, and abuse, and the ridiculousness of those organizations is, and I'm going to swear, fucking disgusting. Yeah.
And you know as well as I do too, Chris, that you talk to anybody that served in the UN missions in the 90s, whether it be Kosovo, anywhere in the Balkans, Croatia, Bosnia, Herzegovina, anybody, especially in Rwanda, under the guise of the UN. Yep. You can hear some of the stories if you're allowed to, if you're privy to hear them, and some of the political BS that went along with those tours, especially from
garbage. They're nothing but a bunch of self-licking ice cream cones, slicks. Self-licking ice cream cones.
I like that. You bloody slick. Self-licking ice cream cone. What flavor you are today? The Canadian taxpayer? That's a pretty good beat. That was a pretty good beat.
Yeah, we can get some freaking techno going here.
1990s rave.
Sorry?
Some 1990s rave material.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I need my whistle and my glow sticks.
Okay, image in my head. Can't get it out.
Woo! Here we go. Right. Bust a move. Okay, please, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions for myself, Fred Stockman, Chris, Semchuk, please send them our way. Our topics today are basically talking about the political jumble of what's going on the past week. We've dwelled a bit on General 410's issues, if he has any. Who knows exactly, too, if it's an issue that came from, let's say, 5 years ago or 7 years ago. We don't know. No one's really saying much about it. And of course, our defense minister, Mr. I'm going to blame you for being a racist, but I'll buy old F-18s for old F-18s, Mr. Harjit Sajjan. He hasn't said shit. So
stolen valor too. Stolen valor.
Well, that's the thing. Stolen valor as well. He bragged about Op Medusa, and I remember the funerals for those lads. So that was
Pour some on the ground for those not around.
That's the thing. So, for us and for our homies, but just disingenuous leadership that is being exposed every day now too. And what gets me is when I look back at 2015, the campaign for the libtards, and I will call them libtards because I've never seen a bunch of more unqualified people calling the shots for a working democracy in my life.
Well, then got elected, so never mind.
Oh, well, okay. But just the whole 50-50.
Sorry, Fred.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the whole 50-50,
Let's put it this way. Joe Biden, literally in the I think it was the 70s, he said he didn't want his kids to grow up in a racial jungle. And he's basically approved mass migration over the last, 20 years into this country. What a freaking hypocrite. At least be a racist your entire career instead of walking back from it. He goes Mr. Nack over here hanging out with Robert Byrd or whatever his name is, the Klansman. And now he's like, oh, but we got to let all these people in, It's like, Jack, we got to let all these immigrants in over the border, They're all wrapped up in burrito tinfoil, laying down next to each other without masks on. And he has the audacity to tell us to take a vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
This guy.
Well, we see the contradictions in both of our sides here too. The budget that was proposed there a month and a half ago, what a shit show that was. They made a big stink about her bloody shoes, for crying out loud. In regards to the tradition or not, what the hell's that got to do with you bankrupting our country?
The bankruptcy, they're looting this place.
Yeah, serenity now, Jerry. Serenity now.
I like how everything is infrastructure now. Whenever the Democrats want to pass anything in this country, they're just infrastructure. It could be something, I don't know, some transgender bathroom bill. It's goes under infrastructure. Great job, guys. Dude, you're really helping out America.
Or I think, Chris, you're familiar with the story of that gentleman in Toronto there, was it 3 years ago, who actually replaced and fixed a staircase into a public park. And it cost him something like $60 in wood.
Wow.
To make, and he did it just like that. And the city tried to sue him over some kind of contract dispute. So the city tore down his step or his stoop for access to this park, and they end up spending something like $6,000 on replacing it.
Jeez.
So
crazy.
And there was a gentleman there last winter who was actually building shelters for the homeless in the city of Toronto. He took his carpentry course. He was a full-fledged carpenter. Nice young guy. I did an episode on this at the time. And he was building little wee, basically glorified ice huts, if anything, but it's enough to keep you warm and to give you a decent night's sleep and personal security, especially how the cold fronts work in Canada, right?
Yeah, no kidding, yeah.
And it doesn't matter if you're in Toronto or Kingston or Wainwright, Alberta, okay? The cold will get you. It will, if you're not careful about it. Whether it's a wet cold or a dry cold, it will kill you. So this guy took the initiative himself, raised the funds to put these shelters up. Apparently one homeless individual caught himself on fire and it burned. Okay. That happens. My condolences to the family of this individual. But in the same sense, the city tried to sue him for building faulty shelters.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you can't see here, we're in this together. We're doing this together. Someone takes the initiative, like that young man who built those shelters, or that private citizen that built that stoop. How together are you promoting? How much togetherness are you promoting?
Yeah, well, he didn't have, he wasn't of the same party lines and such.
Oh, that's right. He didn't have a license. Oh, shit. There you go. That's it.
Yeah.
He didn't have his token piece of paper to say, can I build this?
Yeah.
Did you hear about the homeless fires in California, in LA?
No. Homeless fires?
Yes, I kid you not. There are so many fires each day in LA just from people's encampments in the city. There's that's half the fires the fire department in LA puts out are just homeless encampments catching on fire.
Just junk and tents put together in shanties, eh?
Also, this might be an unpopular opinion, but there shouldn't be any homeless people. Not just on the grounds of the government shouldn't be spending money overseas. They should give it to or help out homeless people put to homelessness. But you can't just sit in the middle of the street. You shouldn't be allowed to do that. I really don't. You need a home. You need some sort of residency. I guess if you live out in the woods, I can't stop you, but you can't be living on the streets in a city. That's stupid. And that shouldn't be allowed. That's a burden on society.
Well, when I did that interview with Artur Pawlowski there on my Thursday fastball, we've all heard of him. He's out actually feeding the homeless in Calgary. And, he does it every week.
That's a great thing. I agree.
And he sets the example, regardless of how you feel about religion or not. He is showing humanity to people. And the people that come and eat are homeless. They're recovering addicts or they're drug addicts. However, they're homeless people. And the city of Calgary has done nothing but give him such a bloody hard time for doing that. Right? He's obviously not being a burden because all the food and everything that he gets is donated. And the people that cook it are volunteers. So they're not getting paid. They're not expecting a paycheck. They're spending maybe 2 or 3 hours out of their day helping the less fortunate out. And it was actually Mayor Nenshi that made a point of persecuting and prosecuting Mr. Pawlowski for that issue. And I shake my head at that crap, because even if, let's say, you did it in your area, or if I did it in my area, what kind of administration is going to come down on us for showing that kind of courtesy and respect to people? You know what I mean? It's not about, people being reliant on free food. It's just the simple gesture, the action of showing some consideration and decent fucking compassion to people. Really. So, Fred, what do you think about that?
Disappointing. There's too much legislation. There needs to be less laws. Like, I think they should just make a reset day where, not like the Great Reset, but like where they just reset all the laws and we rewrite them. We make new legislation for stuff. Because honestly, there's too much bureaucracy. Like, I think what is it? You commit 6 felonies a day or something like that at this point. I forget what it is, but you commit so many crimes per day. There's too much legislation. My thoughts on the homelessness is just like, there's got to be a different alternative. You can't just be. I think honestly, if you're homeless, they should send you to somewhere to work and get a job and get back on your feet. Like, you can't. I mean,
well, a better program than just what they used to call the poorhouses back in Victorian England.
Yeah, those don't help.
You
need to go to a farm and work or something like that. You can't just be living on the street. You're a burden on society. It's not to be mean. A lot of these people are mentally ill, but they need help and they need to do something with their lives. Doing drugs on the side of the street is no way to live. It's actually more inhumane to just let them live on the street like that. Mm-hmm. It's not nice. All these liberals are like, just be nice to these people. We can't do anything about it. Just let them live the life they are. No, that's not humane. That's not the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. They should go somewhere and live in a proper home or proper residency and need to be doing something with their time. They can't just be shooting heroin all day. It's not
understood.
It's not.
You got a dash there, Chris? Or okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen,
thank you, guys. Again. Sorry about that. My neighbor needs some help. So everybody have a great weekend. Thank you very much, and take care. See you next week, everybody. Take care, Fred. Take care. Thank you for having me.
No, anytime.
Ciao, guys.
See you next week. Bye for now. And that was Chris Semchuk, ladies and gentlemen, Veterans Voice, host and operator on a YouTube channel. And they'll be putting links at the end of the show where you can find him. You can find Fred, you can find myself, and Anna Daniel Mezei as well. Anyway, carrying on with the Sunday Fastball with yours truly, Crusty Canuck, and Fred Stockman, who might have an appearance from another guest later. There's been no confirmation, but we'll carry on with the conversation. Jeremy Jackson says, in regards to Artur Pawlowski, it was a damn shame when they arrested him. I lost all respect for the law after seeing 20 cops for one innocent pastor. Yes, in regards to the court injunction that was given, the overnight little, we'll sign this dotted line to forbid anyone for protesting this or protesting that. But as I mentioned earlier in the show, the whole Palestinian-Canadian protests have been going on. Can you say contradiction? Ooh, right? So, Fred.
It is absolute tyranny. The precedent has already been set, and this is how you get extremists. Honestly, this kind of stuff where you push people to the edge, where you basically create your own pseudo-communist state. You're going to get a big backlash. You play dumb games, you get dumb results, and that's what's going to happen. And we can see that in both of our countries. There's a reason why there's a rise of people in organizations like Antifa and organizations like these fascist parties, which are starting to pop up in America. There's reasons why these things happen. And the reasoning is because the government is insanely corrupt and is going out of their way to do terrible things. So that is why you have this backlash going on. The government's going to get what they deserve eventually. I'm not saying anything violent here. I'm not advocating violence, but it's just logically going to be the conclusion is mass civil unrest. That is what they do, you know.
Well, DeSantis says the BLM protest last year, Palestinian, Israeli, every left-wing protest is protected. And in both of our countries, too. How many BLM protests were going on, regardless of the masks or the tickets or the sanctions or whatever laws that any state or any province, for that matter, has passed?
So out of the 10,000 BLM demonstrations, 73% were peaceful. So that means 7% of those protests were riots. So that would logically say around 500 of those demonstrations became violent riots. And the police didn't do anything, of course. They're cowards. The American police are so... They can't get more people to join them. And by the way, I back the blue people that's like, oh, the police are the good guys. Because they're really not right now. And that's sad to say. My uncle was a cop. He unfortunately passed away, not in the job, but from other health complications. His partner, I believe, was actually killed at one point. Or I forget exactly what happened to him, but it was something job-related. And his health declined afterwards. So it's not like easy to be a cop anyway. And then they made it so you can protect all these criminals that are running through our streets, destroying them in our cities. And now you can't get more police, so that's wonderful. And then you defund the police anymore, and you can't get even more police. So we're just creating a third world country here, folks. And, we're seeing even countries like France where they basically just banned the use of non-gendered language because it's creating too much of a damage to society. You see their horrible demonstrations going on there with the giant riots relating to migrants of a certain ethnicity, you cannot say. So society's collapsing, and you just got to find your little tribe to get part of. Get some values.
Well, the tribe I stand for is Canada and freedom. That's the tribe I stand for.
I wish more people liked either of those.
Well, see, that's the thing.
Not many people care about Canada, even though they live in Canada.
Yeah, and that's a harsh reality too. There's a lot of people. It doesn't matter what gender or what identity. There's a lot of people that like the benefits and the freedom to speak out against the country. But then the moment you have a counterpoint, it's like, oh my God, you're racist. Oh my God, you're misogynist. Oh my God, how dare you? How dare you use bigger words than I do? That's what it comes to.
Honestly, if I get cancelled for not using the proper gender language, it doesn't matter to me because I don't want to be around you. You're just a dick. If you make change language, but you're a little you're playing. That's what these people are. All these young college students that are in my age group. Unfortunately, I hate being amongst them, but they all play pretend basically all day. That's what they're doing. They're just infants. That's what this.
Oh, true enough. Jeremy Jackson says it doesn't help either with the left-wing mainstream media, and true enough. Look at how our media operates in this country. I ask all my Canadian fans there too. How many times now do you watch the CBC? How many times do you actually tune in to what City TV used to be? I remember when City TV used to be fucking cool and fantastic. It was innovative. It was risque. Now it just caters the line because they all got a handout one way or the other from the Canadian taxpayer, i.e. the government. So, but and I agree there, DeSantis. Both sides are propaganda. Both sides are at fault. Both sides have innocent and guilty parties. I would agree.
Yeah.
Whether you're on the blue side of things and the red side of things. Add a bit of green, bit of orange, right? It's like I said earlier in the show, we're not going to find any kind of light in this manufactured darkness unless we try to slay manufactured darkness, right? So that's the thing, folks. Please get your questions into us tonight there, ladies and gentlemen. With me tonight on the fastball, Sunday fastball again, is Fred Stockman. We had Chris Semchuk there earlier. He had prior engagements. And as for Adam Danny Mezei, he is on location as we speak. Like I say, he's an actor, he's a writer, he's a creator, he's a director, producer. So I think he had a job this week So he's working on that as we speak. But he's here in spirit, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're listening, Adam, well done, sir. So let's see, from Justin Mears, difference is that is the left has the institutional power. Yes, it does now. I would say the past 20 years, it has grown its tentacles into every spectrum of political correctness.
Longer than that.
Feelings, especially feelings, Fred. Everyone's feelings are getting hurt.
The left has been in power in the 80s.
Yeah, okay. Was it the 80s part of the 70s too? You know,
I would say
they brought disco.
I'd say there was still probably enough conservatism back in the 60s and 70s where the left didn't dominate things, but these people are nuts. I mean, I'm really not a fan of either side, to be honest. I can't really call myself a Republican. It's stupid. It's such a the RNC is such a joke. What a bunch of losers, seriously. Like, I can't believe they even kept what was her name? They just banned her from the party like recently.
Oh, Cheney? Is that her name? Cheney?
Yeah.
Cheney?
The niece of like one of the most evil people in American history. Like, seriously, she's the worst. I can't believe she was even still around. You know, talk about a corrupt family. They're up there with the Bushes, man. Awful people.
Well, that's the thing. I'm libertarian based, and I have conservative values and I have liberal values. I also have some green values. I like the trees. I like the rivers. I like the sky. I like breathing fresh air, even though, just saw me light up a smoke here, ladies and gentlemen. But I think you catch my drift. But when it comes to our social spectrum, let people do their thing. Let people make their money. Let people keep their money, right? When you look at everything that we do, you need permits to build. You need permits to buy this. You need permits to buy that. And now we have a federal government, both of our countries, that want to take more of our money in the name of the green scheme. Line 5 is being debated as we speak right now. What I understand is that Canada could have built Energy East many moons ago, or just as recently as 3 years ago. But the Liberal Party and some Quebec officials, i.e. the mayor of Montreal at the time, put the kibosh in that because of the environmental impact. And yet these are the same people that stood by and watched people dump raw sewage into the St. Lawrence Seaway. So that puts things in a little perspective. And of course, our environment minister, Mr. Seamus O'Regan, shameful Seamus. He did a terrible job as a broadcaster, terrible job as Veterans Affairs Minister. And now he's just sitting in his hands going, what do I do now? Just keep carrying on, Seamus. Don't do a goddamn thing. Right?
Such a joke.
Fred.
These people are children. Also, I find it funny. I love how the environmentalists in this country seem to have no problem with us dropping bombs on people in other countries. That's definitely got a bigger environmental impact than some.
Oh, I would say so. Yeah, especially
with mom driving her like, I don't know, what is it, Suburban down the street. Oh no, God forbid! It's such a big car. It has so much fuel efficiency. As we just like bomb brown people in other countries. It's like, oh man, the same people that are like BLM, and then they're like also signing up the Green New Deal. Like, we're just bombing people in other countries.
Oh yeah, and then try to innovate certain solar technologies that are maybe 20% efficient based on the materials that are put in solar panels. And it's like I've said numerous times, ladies and gentlemen, especially on my podcast too, where is the self-sufficiency model? Where's the instigation for people to become self-sufficient? There are numerous ways out there you can generate your own electricity, your own power for your home without breaking your bank or someone else's bank or breaking your back to do it. A lot of us in the VCP believe in hemp production too. You can grow hemp without the THC, meaning without the narcotics, and it can be used as a food protein, a material to make clothing, a fuel source, and you can also build some decent bricks out of it too. So there's 4 good uses you can use out of hemp, ladies and gentlemen. There's an idea. What a crop that would be. So please, ladies and gentlemen, please feel free to ask us anything you'd like to know. This is the Sunday Fastball with yourself, Crusty Canuck, and Fred Stockman. We had Chris Semchuk earlier. He got called away, and we usually have a panel of 4 of us, myself, Fred, Chris Semchuk, and the wonderful Adam Daniel Mezei. He's away on location right now. So you just got our 2 mugs, ladies and gentlemen. Please feel free to ask us anything you want to know. Awkward pause. I got a few people coming out tonight, so
I'm disappointed in the in one. Not just that the media completely lied about Joe Biden. But the fact that people actually bought it, that's just sad to me. Like that Americans just like, yeah, this guy who can barely string a sentence together, yeah, I'm gonna vote for him. Like, it just proves people just aren't that intelligent. And it's not to be mean, but it's like if you can't see that there's something severely wrong with that man and you still voted for him, you're either really dumb or you just you are just psychotic. There is no way he should be in charge of our nuclear codes. Like, I'm sorry, there's no way he is mentally stable to run our country. And everyone got mad over the last 4 years when Trump, who, by the way, said some stuff that was terrible. Everyone questioned his mental like abilities and all that. But there's no question about this. How nuts is that?
Well, that's the American political machine. You always have the two-party dynamic. And in a way, we're in Canada have the same thing here too. We have all these parties that are running, but it's always the two-party dynamic. The liberals, conservatives, conservatives, liberals, back and forth, right? And I don't know what to think anymore. So, in my position with the people that I work with and the people I want to work for, right? I like to encourage people that they have a choice, right? That instead of actually being an ideologue, here's my ideology. It's democracy, freedom to choose, freedom to flourish. I want Canadians to prosper. I want Canadians to thrive. All colors, all creeds. I don't care what gender. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what you represent, right? History should be sacred and treated as such, as history to learn from, not to base everything on, right? Let's base everything now on reality. Okay. Justin Mears, where's the shame at not being able to support yourself? Back in the day, a guy had to hang his head low when his family needed handouts. Nowadays, people seem to have no dignity. I can agree with that too. Where is the where's the pride in what you do? Okay. Tell me how many times have you gone to a fast food restaurant, Fred, and you wouldn't really see 100% effort.
Yeah, I mean, try to avoid fast food right now.
Well, okay, but let's say, okay, you go for a cheeseburger. It doesn't matter if it's a Burger King, McDonald's, a Wendy's. What's the big chain down there? Sonic?
Actually, Sonic's more of like not in Massachusetts or New England much. I think it's more of like a West Coast thing, actually.
Okay, so what's big in Massachusetts other than the aforementioned?
I mean, Five Guys. That's a pretty big chain.
Like, yeah. Okay. So you go in there and you just want a simple burger, some fries, a drink. Okay. And let's say the kid behind the counter, and I don't want to stereotype, but let's say the enthusiastic young person behind the counter doesn't really give a shit about what he or she's doing. Right. Then you got the manager who's kind of like, got their shirt hanging out and they're kind of tired and cranky, and whether they had a dinner rush or not, or whether they just, don't like what they're doing. And then you pay, like, say, $10 for your meal, and you get it, and has everything you want on it. It's missing a couple items. You know what I mean? So when something is rudimentary and as simple as that, to put together a simple order doesn't get done because the people behind the counter don't care. What does that show you? Now, I'm not saying, raise a stink and throw a chair and where's my fucking tomatoes? I'm saying, oh shit, do you not really care about what you're doing? The odd gas station, you might find someone that'll actually pump the gas for you. You find a pump attendant. Hey, it pays to be polite. What can I get you, sir? Would you like some unleaded? Would you like some regular? What would you like? What is it something like that. Even though you can't get, you get regular unleaded now, but needless to say, that certain persona, right? You don't get a lot of that anymore. A lot of people just don't care. And that's what's scary. And as Justin said, too, it's like, regardless if you're digging holes or serving burgers or slinging coffee or slinging beers, you got to have some thought in what you're doing. You got to care about what you're doing, And I think a lot of that is the whole entitlement bullshit that a lot of people have been taught the past 20 years. Oh, you got a degree. Well, you're entitled to this. Not entirely. I have family members that have degrees, and they're not working in the field they're trained in or what they studied for. I work with a lot of soldiers who've had degrees. One in particular had an English degree, and he could write some great stories, but he's not writing the great Canadian novel, and he's still serving last time I checked. So, he's got a degree, great for him, but he's not working the field that he was trained to do. So choices are there. So if you make a choice to cut someone's grass at $20 a lawn, I would say you do the best you can to make that lawn look pretty good for $20. Right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm just thought about one thing that worries me is automation. And
Sorry, I just allergic to cheese. Well, then don't order cheese, Justin.
yeah,
That's
just order
simple.
a burger. No big deal.
Just just
Rum.
have a ask for your hamburger on a stick. There you go. Right?
Right.
Just kidding, Justin. Right?
Okay. Well, the one thing I worry about is automation because you already have people that don't care about working now
Mhm.
that are basically probably going to be out of a job at some point because they're raising minimum wage and the more computers that run things. I mean, they can't run everything, but for fast food, it seems pretty easy. Like recently, I was at a Burger King.
Mhm.
You really eat fast food. We just ended up going to one, and I saw there was like these computers where you just kind of type in what you want. There's no
Yeah.
person. There's just like
Mhm.
people working in the kitchen and one person bringing stuff in and out. So it's like, wow, well, that's gone. You know,
Well, even that too, like even the automation. So you're not giving the people a chance to work. But then again, companies change and change their dynamic all the time. So that's a choice. You can say, okay, well, I'm not going to use your machine because I want to talk to a real person. So be it. Okay. But then based on what I've just explained and what I've seen, sometimes you just want to go to a machine, get in there, get out, and do your thing, right? Know what Jenna 21 says? I've seen degree holders eat Tide Pods.
yeah, that's
We've
probably
all seen it. Exactly. So, there could be one kid 1 minute on TikTok, you're shaking your butt, going, oh, yeah, that's a cool song.
that.
Oh, I have an English degree. And then she mows down on a cascade. Ooh.
Bro, TikTok is such degenerate trash. Honestly, that is the downfall. That's just like everything that's bad about our society is on TikTok. Like, I'm never gonna let my kid. If I've ever had kids, I'm never gonna let them have like a phone until they're at least 17 or 18, because it is stupid what is on TikTok. Voicing deals because she actually found out about that stuff a couple of years ago, and she's been trying since.
Oh, really? So she's been like under house arrest for 2 years.
Pretty much, yeah.
Kind of like Katie Holmes and Tom Cruise when he refused to leave Scientology and Katie Holmes was
That
scared
guy,
for her life.
all the well, Tom Cruise is definitely one of those guys. If that theory is true, he is weird, man.
Well, DeSanico is actually roasting some meat or smoking some meat. Well done, Sanico. Is it beef? Is it moose? Is it deer? Which is it, bud?
I've had moose before. It's pretty.
Moose is moose meat is good. Oh,
I've,
caribou is good too. So
I've had some of that too. That's pretty good.
yeah, caribou. It's delicious. Justin Mears says, I say no cheese on my McDicks at every time. Well, that seems kind of naughty. That's your own personal preference, but I'll let you have that one. Can't give me a burger right, but want 15 an hour. You see, that's the dilemma too. You want all this money for mediocre work. At
What's the
my job, I'm
wage?
making where I am, it's $15 an hour.
Okay.
Yeah. But I work for my $15 an hour. I move pieces of beer, I move lots of liquor, I work the till, I sweep, I mop, I wipe. I'm presentable when I go to work. I'm polite to all the customers. So I don't, pardon my French, I don't fuck around. So, right. Brandy Lawson says, good to see you, Brandy. Thanks for coming out. I've been saying it for years. A lot of jobs were replaced with technology. ATM machines, since the start, replaced tellers and self checkouts, replaced cashiers. The list goes on. And it is sad. Yes, I agree. It is sad. But let's say if you're at a fair sized store and you need a replacement for something or you need validation for a sale, whatever, I would say leave that to the staff as well too. But that's all depends on the business model that the owners want to have as well. So that's the thing.
Honestly, most stores are probably going to go away at some point. The only things that I can't really see going away are like hardware stores and uh, not just like the Home Depot, but like supply houses. Like those places will probably stay around for a long time. But I see like a lot of normal retail like Target and Walmart.
Mm.
You guys have in Canada. You guys have Walmart?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Walmart bought out Kmart Canada back
Okay.
in the 90s.
Oh
So
yeah.
we used to have quite the chain of stores here in Canada one time. We used to have a Woolco, Woolworths.
Woolworths is in Australia too.
Yeah, there was a Crusty, which became Kmart, and then there was Stedman's, was like a department store. Jesus. When I look back, we used to have a store where you could walk in, you have an order form. It used to be called Consumers Distributing. You get the catalog every year. You get a spring catalog, and you get the winter, like the Christmas one. And then you go pick an item you want, and it'd be in a big warehouse, right? So you'd have everything in display in this little lobby, maybe two or three people working at the desk, and one of those three people would go in the back and get your item for you. Basically, it was at a decent price. Eaton's used to be the big entrepreneur back in the turn of the 20th century. Branched out, became Eaton Simpsons. I know Simpsons, I think it was American, and then Simpson Sears, and now Sears Canada has gone belly up. Zellers was a big chain. Zellers was much like Kmart, but you had more variety, and there used to have flash sales and stuff all the time too. So smaller towns, we had stores like SANN, Stedman's, just a fair sized department. But like when Zellers went belly up, then everything Zellers, became Walmart, or it didn't become Walmart. So a lot of spaces were left over. So it was because Target was supposed to replace Zellers, but Target didn't do so well in Canada. So Target Canada went.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that's the thing. So
Walmart here is actually like expanding, which is pretty crazy to think about. But also the other thing that I was Sears is gone. Man, I grew up. My nan worked at a Sears, like for many years. Like it's all gone now.
Oh, yeah, I remember applying for a job at Sears back in my youth, right? So, but there used to be a lot of great record chains too. There used to be A&A Records and the Record Man, Music World. Then HMV took all that over, and now HMV's bust. So a lot of music you
Remember
buy.
Blockbuster?
Oh yeah, Blockbuster. That used to be a
Man,
real treat to go to Blockbuster. But we had a chain up here too. It used to be called Jumbo Video. It was like a circus theme. So you'd have your horror section, your comedy section, your new releases, and you had your dirty section,
yes,
right? So
Blockbuster turned into a bank.
yeah, porn's in the back. Okay, so
Yeah, but Blockbuster was fun, man. I don't live in my hometown anymore, so like it's changed. Like I remember when
Rogers Video, yeah, movie gallery, yeah. So
none of my like siblings remember that. They were too young. They were like little kids. But then I think ours lasted till about 20, like I would say maybe 2012 at its latest, and then it kind of just went, just went away. Couldn't stay in business.
that's the thing. Brandon Larson says they are removing human interaction, removing the ability for people to develop patience. Yes, I would agree with that too. But see, that's the thing though too. You can have just as many impatient people behind a machine as you can a cash register. But then again, that's like I say, we shall be teaching employees too to be kind and considerate to the best of your ability. Right. The magic word I like to use is resilience, tolerance. I've done a lot of retail jobs in my life, and I've had to put up a lot of unruly customers, but I never was rude. I was never mean. If something happened, I let my manager know. Therefore, they were in the loop. So if something came back to bite me on the ass, powers that be knew something about it. So there'd be, conflict resolution at its finest. So Jeremy Jackson says, porn section with the shaggy carpet drape.
Yeah.
The one I remember had saloon doors, but yeah, I get your point.
Yeah, there was both. Like there was two Blockbusters, and one had like the saloon type. Yeah, the other one was like a carpet.
We got all the porn in the back and all the other special interest videos if you desire. They're over there. Okay.
Like open your phone and there's just like tits. That's it. Like,
yeah. See, that's the thing. And you porn, it's right there. So
I'm starting to think it should just all be banned off the internet, and they should just put Blockbuster back in business exclusively for porn. They have to like actually go into the store, show an ID that you're over 18, and like bring a video home. Or bring a USB drive.
I think there's still shops that you can get. I think there's still shops that you can check out and frequent. Yeah, pretty sure.
I'm saying they should ban the internet stuff.
Okay.
Right, because there's too many. Besides the fact that there's too many young kids on it, there's too many loser men who keep going on the porn sites way too many times a day. Guilty here. And I think they should just ban it out of spite. You know, just go full fascist on the on the PA. You know?
Well, I'm a believer. Let people do their own thing. You know, if someone has to sneak around and go to a certain store at a certain time of night and do the old, hide the videotape and then pay their, $5.50 to go out and watch it, I think that's just awkward.
That's hilarious.
That's funny as hell, but true enough. Dave Hemmington says he worked as a baker for many years, an average shift ran 18 hours in front of a huge oven. I can't imagine even able to get employees to work like a job like that now. And I think I know the story you're talking about there, Dave. Was that Vern's Donut Villa? That's now like some kind of Mexican restaurant, I believe. But yeah, it's Vern's was like a private business, kind of like a Tim Hortons, but he actually baked his donuts in his shop. Oh, the cakes and everything. You walk in, have a coffee, you can have a sandwich, have a donut. He used to make one killer Western sandwich. Like in Denver, his Denver was immaculate, beautiful sandwich, and a cup of coffee. And I think that Vern guy actually baked everything that he put on display. So yeah, I can see that's the thing though too. Like my shifts are anywhere from 6 to 8 hours. Okay, the last time I did 12-hour shift was in the military. The last time I did anything 12 hours in the civilian world, I think was Duracell batteries, and that was a 10-hour shift. If I wanted extra hours, I had to talk to the manager, come in on weekends.
I worked on a construction site for 12 hours, like one, just hammered that thing out.
Bun King, yes, I remember that place. Yes, Bun King. I do remember that bakery. Yeah. So let's see.
Honestly, if you're a younger person watching this, you're best off getting a trade now because eventually automated out of a job.
Well, a trade or get out and do your own. Get out and do your own thing. Like I said, cutting grass. Look at the time of year we're in right now.
Self-employment.
Yeah, creating your own business. All you need is a lawnmower and a plan. There you go. Cut a few lawns, get a few bucks, and get some yard tools. All of a sudden, you got yourself a trailer and a bicycle. Oh, wow, look at this. Look what I can do. Simple things like that,
That's not too difficult.
No.
Skills, fix stuff. It's not like if you have a minimal amount of, experience with your hands, like doing stuff, with tools, you can become a handyman, work for yourself.
GDR the Maker says, Bonanza, I do remember that steakhouse too. That was quite the steakhouse at the time. That's the thing. And of course, he also says too, you're right, be useful, get a skill. Of course. I'm lucky because I have a pension, but I earned my pension. It wasn't just handed to me on a platter, right? And I've got some handy skills too. I can build deck. I can put two pieces of wood together and make it last. So simple things like that. I don't mind. If I'm ever in a bind and I need to go out and cut someone's grass and I've got all day to do it, why not? Right? Pay me cash under the table. There you go. I'll come back next week if you want. That kind of thing. Yeah. So Mike Rowe, or is it? Yeah, Mike Rowe. Yeah, he's excellent. He just common sense, down to earth. The dirty jobs.
I really loved watching his show as a kid.
Yeah.
That was. I mean, I don't know if I would out watching that show. Like, at least not having a like a stigma towards it. It's like honest work. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. Good man.
Oh, it's just down to earth, common sense, aficionado too. So please, ladies and gentlemen, give us your questions. Myself, Crusty, Canuck, and Fred Stockman are on tonight on the Sunday Fastball. Adam Danny Mezei is away on location, and Chris Semchuk had to go help a neighbor. But every Sunday, we usually have a panel of us four. We'll sit and discuss social issues, national and political issues as we see them. So please follow the link at the bottom if you want to join the Crusty Nut podcast. For $5 a month, you can get yourself all of my episodes on Supercast, censorship free. That's right, censorship free. It's also a Canadian-based company too. So not only helping me out as a podcaster, you're helping a company out that's Canadian-based. So you're also helping employ some good Canadians there too. So please check out the Crusty Nut podcast on Supercast today. My guest tonight is Fred Stockman. We did have Chris Semchuk earlier. As I say, Adam Mezei is away on location. He'll be around next week. Thursday will be no fastball. I'll be working, so there's no fastball planned. I'm still working on a guest for next fastball, so stay tuned to my YouTube page and Facebook page for updates. Tonight, we are discussing the whole issues with General Fortan, the vaccine procurement commander. Some allegations have come up where apparently he did some bad things to somebody. We don't know yet. A lot of it's speculation, but there's something in the works. We'll have to see.
Is this one of those things where it's like the lady went on social media and said a bunch of stuff, or is it not like a sexual kind of? I haven't seen the story.
I haven't seen anything on it yet, too. I did an episode on the fly based on the allegations because I'm so sick and tired of all this stuff coming out of the woodwork. And I've told my audience numerous times, if anybody has an issue they want to talk about and they're personally, afraid to talk to anybody higher, send me an email. Let me know. crustybcanuck67@gmail.com. You can find me there. Just look at the ticker on the bottom of the page. Let me know because there's people I still know in the loop that might give you a hand. So that's the thing. It's just politics as always, though, right? The old boys club. And I don't blame Chris for not really talking about it because the position he's in too might jeopardize some things. But needless to say, we have to get things sorted out, So
just like this side thing, is I bet you guys remember when they started banning books like for sale on Amazon and eBay and all that, like the Dr. Seuss books. I think this is a good time to just it's just some suggestions of some things you might want in hardcover. I have a copy of 1984 here. Good man.
Mm-hmm.
I got Brave New World the other day.
I got that in the back there too. So,
and then I got Heart of Darkness. This book is definitely going to get banned.
Mm-hmm.
They say some rather racist stuff in there, but still, you should keep it around. It's kind of
that was the time too when the book was written. I think that was written in the turn of the 20th century, was it not?
1898, I think.
Yeah, so just at the cusp of. So that's when there was still quite the colonial thing. Yeah, interesting. It's
by Erwin Rommel.
Yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, just because my friend Fred Stockman has this book up here, just in case any SJWs want to watch this, don't start reading. It's a good book of information. Because I personally know scholars that are staunch communists that have read Mein Kampf. So put that in your pipes and smoke it. So
also, my grandfather was like mixed race. Like, I don't know if I can go full Nazi, I wouldn't be allowed in. He's one of the actually, let me find a photo of him. I took a photo the other day of when he was a kid, and my great grandma made him grow his hair out because she wanted a daughter. Let me find this. This is hilarious. Yeah, this photo.
It looks like Shirley Temple.
Yeah. Except if I can fix the lighting.
Okay.
Yeah. What darker than me?
No Agenda 21. Thoughts on moving from BC to Alberta? That's up to you. No Agenda 21, if you'd like to. Whatever skills you have, if you want to build a business, by all means. As far as I know, the rules are a little more lenient here, not as bureaucratic. But then again, the way things are going with the pandemic and every other issue, to each their own, right?
I have a good escape plan, by the way. If America goes bad, I got a third world country I'm going to.
Which one?
Hear me out. Zambia.
Okay.
They speak English there. Okay. Mm-hmm. Believe it or not, their president is actually a white guy, even though it's in Africa.
Oh.
And it's actually former Northern Rhodesia, so I'll fit right in,
Okay.
Yeah.
So still a lot of old Rhodesians there, or what?
Yeah, there's about a population of around 100,000 white Rhodesians. Yeah.
Oh, it's not bad. Oh.
No Dutch. Most people speak English there, as far as I know.
But no Africans?
No. That's there's not many Afrikaners in Zimbabwe either.
Okay.
Most of the Afrikaners are just in South Africa and Namibia.
No, I thought Afrikaans is the language.
No. It's a
okay.
race to Afrikaners, like
okay.
Boers. Yeah.
Okay. Well, GDR Maker says it is custom furniture, yard furniture, and log furniture. Lumber prices below. Yeah, I hear it. It's like gold, man. It's increased because of the environmental scheme. That's the way they rigged it. That's the way it is. That's the thing. No Agenda 121 says too, check out Enemies Foreign and Domestic series. Excellent. Yes, No Agenda 21, please send me a link to that via the email if you could, please, sir. That would be excellent if you send me a link to that. Just follow the email on my screen there and please send me an email to that. I wouldn't mind buying a copy of that or the series itself. So, ladies and gentlemen, please don't be shy. Ask us anything you'd like to know, myself or Fred, on this beautiful Sunday edition of the Sunday Fastball. Like I said, Adam Danny Mezei is away on location. Chris Semchuk had to help his neighbor out there. So please,
That's the president. That's the former president of Zambia. I think he just passed.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
There's a new guy in charge now. He's not white, but yeah, that's it is kind of like it's one of like the only other white country in Africa besides South Africa, or like there's like a significant amount of white people, you know, kind of like Zimbabwe or former Rhodesia. Zimbabwe only has like 30,000 white people now. They used to have like 500,000 or around it, something like that.
They probably moved out, did they?
Yeah, most of them left.
Mm.
My relatives that lived there went to Australia, so they went as far away as they could.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
you can always come to Canada.
There's a few roadies that went to Canada. I do know that. You know.
Well, I worked with a guy on summer training that was Rhodesian. He was a reservist. He was about 55 years old, and he was a reserve warrant. So he did. I guess he was in Rhodesia back in the day before it split apart. So some of his stories were interesting. But yeah, nice guy. I had no issues with him. So yeah. So the Seneco trying to find an 80 to 160 place with at least half treed. Well, talk to Gabriel Shear. Gabe, if you're listening, please get a hold of this gentleman to Seneco, because he might have some property for you. Check it out. Right. If Gabe is on tonight, where is Gabe? I saw him earlier. I should have said hello, but still. Yeah. So please, ladies and gentlemen, don't be shy. Ask us anything you'd like to know.
How expensive?
I saw Brandy out there earlier, if she's still around. Well, nice to see that face again. Nice to see you too, GDR, Seneco. Justin, as always a pleasure. Well,
how much is land in Canada, you reckon? Like up, you live in Alberta, right?
I'm in Alberta, yeah. So I'm about an hour from the Saskatchewan border, or a half hour, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it expensive, like land-wise? Like if you buy property?
Well, they say the market is decent. But my thing is I'm waiting for the inflation to go up, because it will go up. So I would say what you have now, hold on to it dearly. That's my advice.
Yeah.
Yes, Gabriel, get a hold of Tesanico there. Give it a message or something. Yeah. Do you see that, Tesanico? Yeah. Fenleypark.com. Yeah. Hosted in probably. Yeah. That's Gabriel Shear there. Yes. Quite the libertarian, quite the efficient, brilliant young mind. We need more of those guys in Canada. Good to see you made back to Canada, Gabriel. Cheers, buddy. Yeah. Okay. Well, don't leave Alberta. Stay in Alberta. Get your guns, get your ammo, because we might need them.
Not allegedly, you might need them.
Ramping up our produce and beef farm now. Oh, nice. That's a hell of a greenhouse. Excellent. Excellent. Hell of a greenhouse. Perfect. Oh, I'm going to start my planting next week too. Just got myself some tomato plants there. My wife and I were getting some plants and getting some sand and all that too. My wife has this big project where she's laying down bricks for a walkway. Looks really good. So I'll get some pictures up to that someday soon. So, but yes. Right on. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, contact Gabriel at fenleypark.com. You know, quite the property as laid out there. So, but my advice to my listeners and viewers alike, do what you can to save your coin, invest in what you think is going to be right for you and your family and or loved ones, but don't spend ridiculously. See what you can save, because who knows what's going to happen in the next few months too, especially if they call an election, because you'll be seeing me hitting the ground running, trying to get votes if I can get in or not. But in the same sense, do what you can to keep your wits about you, folks.
I want to talk with these friendly pack guys. If they're banning airsoft, maybe you should create like a autonomous zone where you can just play it.
Call it Nerf soft. We'll get all the Nerf guns going out. Or we'll just start using slingshots with stones.
That'd actually be kind of fun. No, not with
That would
stone.
be.
Like you got to find some other like softer material, like
Mhm.
maybe like little sandbags or something.
Mhm.
That wouldn't.
Yeah, yeah. That would work, but still on the slingshot though. Or just fuck it, throw stones anyway.
Actually, I want to try this. They make these like there's this one place in Massachusetts somewhere. I think it's like not near Boston. So I don't have to drive really far, but the there's this place where you can actually like it's like an archery arena, but the bows are like the arrows are non-lethal. It's almost like a Nerf gun, like tipped kind of thing, but they still go really far. Like I've seen videos of people shooting them. It looks pretty fun actually. So you
That'd be interesting, yeah.
You line up and just kind of like shoot people.
Oh, but the government will probably get sick of that and say, "Oh, stop it! You'll poke your eye out. Don't do that." Oh,
they wear like airsoft masks. I don't know how they're not going to like.
I'll just put on my lacrosse helmet. I'll be good. There you go. That's it, right? So, I think it's to say, ladies and gentlemen, my guest tonight, of course, the panel is Fred Stockman. My other panelists had other commitments, but please stay tuned every Sunday to the Sunday Fastball with yours truly, Crusty Canuck, Fred Stockman, Chris Semchuk, and Adam Daniel Mezei. Like I said, those gentlemen were called away on other commitments. However, it's myself and Fred tonight. So please feel free to ask us anything you'd like to know. We'll take a few more questions before we shut it down for this week. So let's see. GDR, getting back to building bows, right? Oh, that's a good thing. That'd be a notable trade too. That's not easy to get into. That takes patience that I understand as well. So there's a lot of history in bow making. It doesn't matter if it's from the First Nations, if it's from ancient China, the Nordic, the Celtic, a lot of history in bow making from a lot of cultures. And quite the interesting trade too when you think about it as well. So, but yes, ladies and gentlemen, please feel free to ask us anything you'd like to know. And if you like and hear what you see, please consider donating at crustycanuck.ca donations. Right. And I want to thank everybody who has donated the past week too, especially those individuals who gave me the e-transfers. Thank you. Just a reminder though, too, if you do send me an e-transfer, please give me a coherent password to follow too. If I make a mistake on the password in my bank, the transaction is null and void. That way you do save the money that you were giving, but I have to do my whole security thing again, just for the sake of financial safety. So if you do want to send me an e-transfer, you can, but please make sure you give me a coherent password to follow too, please. Thank you. So
I'm going to have a couple cool videos coming up on military history and stuff. I'm not going to say exactly what yet, but I think this is going to, you guys might enjoy it.
Well, we'll look forward to it too, for sure. For sure.
History coming up, and I think that'll be kind of cool. I think you guys might like it.
Oh, that'd be excellent. I would look forward to it. Julie Davis says, we need an alternative economy so that we can cut the source of government powers or something. Well, exactly. Self-sufficiency is a start. I think that was the idea behind cryptocurrency, if I'm not mistaken. So there was no overheads. There was no middleman. No banking system to rely on or any kind of reserve for that matter. But yes, I like where you're going with that, Jilly. That's fantastic, really. When it comes to, let's say, you, me, or anybody else making money, why can't we? What's wrong with it? It's funny because we had a talk with a customer the other day, and he was talking about how the real estate is unpredictable. Yeah, people want to sell or buy, but he's holding on for what he has, and he has his investments, which is good. And I just said to him sarcastically, I said, the only way you can make a lot of money quickly is either have an OnlyFans account or sell drugs.
Wow, that's really good. That's far out. Like one of those motivational speakers where you're like, okay, guys, guess what you're going to do? You can either
barter and trade. Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Walter White or, I don't know, porn star names.
John Holmes.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, he was a big icon in the 70s and 80s because apparently he was hung very well. So he was quite the star. Well, there was a murder mystery surrounded by him too. So Julie Davis says, barter and trade. Exactly. So here's an idea. Buy little bottles of liquor, build a little savings of some sort. Well, little bottles of liquor, you'd be surprised what they come in handy. Little bottles of fuel of some sort, camping fuel, tobacco, pouches of tobacco, little things like that to build something. Dry goods, rice, beans, soup beans, and stuff like that. It can also give you plenty of sustenance if you need it in a time of a crisis. Certain rices are excellent. Be careful what rice you buy, though. Preferably Indian rice is very good for its longevity. Certain African strains, and even homegrown rice. If you can make your own, even better too.
Rice.
So,
Now, how would you grow rice in Canada without
there are patches, there are rice farms in Canada, yeah.
Okay.
Not en masse as you would see in Thailand or Vietnam or other places like that,
Yeah.
but there is rice production in Canada. Yeah, so.
Is there I was gonna say, I kind of want to. There's a place we play airsoft at that's like really wet. I kind of just want to see what happens if I just seed the place with rice, make like artificial rice paddies.
Well, as far as I know, you need like a swampy / pond
Yeah, that's
kind of predicament, and you can do it seasonal too. Vodka is a great cleaner aesthetics. Exactly. When you look at some spirits, it can be used as medicine too, as a cleaner anesthetic as well. Not to mention, give yourself a little drinky poo. Yeah, that's right. Like Mr. Leahy. But Jill makes a point.
Behind the school.
Jill makes a point. Even if you make your own, like I still have recipes where I can make my own mead and my own wine. That comes in handy as well too. You don't need much. 3 pounds of honey for 4 liters of water. There you go. And you can make some exceptional mead with that. Bit of clove, bit of fruit. Let it sit for a few months. You got yourself a nice drink, something to trade with. So,
I had a couple Alco teachers. They take their little nip bottle behind the school. And that was a couple of years ago, so it was before COVID and all that.
Oh, I had teachers like that too. You could smell them when they come in at 11 o'clock.
And in fairness, on 2 of them, and I was just like, you know what, mate, I'm not going to say anything.
True enough. Yeah. Now, Sue Kowalski says moonshine. Yeah, really.
Is that legal in Canada?
It is, but the government gets saying it too.
Yeah, because in America it's pretty legal.
Mm-hmm. It's
you're getting a little.
It's just part of the monopoly again too. Like here in Alberta, okay, the government does get its cut of liquor sales, but not as bad as, let's say, in Saskatchewan, Ontario, and Nova Scotia, because it is all controlled by the provincial government, right? In Ontario, if you want to buy a bottle of rye, okay, you go to what they call the LCBO, Liquor Control Board of Ontario, just an LB's, liquor store. And then if you want beer, you go to what they call Brewers Retail, right? You go to the beer store, right? Get your beer there. Here, going to a liquor store, and you can own a liquor store here. It doesn't have to be, you follow government regulations. It could be Bob and Edna's Liquor Emporium. It doesn't really matter. There's certain guidelines and stuff, but you can run a business selling liquor without the government oversight. So that's the thing. But see, that's the thing, folks, too. You trade what you can, stock up what you can. I've got a few bags of soup beans and some rice. I got some decent canned goods. I even have some old ration packs that I managed to save, like the dry goods part of it, too. Coffee, sugars, necessities, things we take for granted can be great bartering tools, too. And plus, I'm not going to recommend it. Don't buy ammo.
Buy a bow, actually. If you don't have one already, that's very handy. I just got one recently. It's a great tool.
Exactly. Bureaucracy is expensive and only complicates everything. Exactly, because there's always 10 or 12 people who have to get their hands in everything that you're doing. One simple transaction. If I buy a liter and a half of rye whiskey, which will cost me anywhere from $65 to $75 in some cases. Government has its chunk of change out of that too, when the distiller doesn't need to make that much to make it. So it speaks for itself. So, and simple things. People are cook from scratch instead of relying on packaged foods. Well, true. Basic baking, how to make a loaf of bread. I still know how to make a loaf of bread. I was taught that by my grandparents when I was a kid. My mother reinforced it when I used to bake bread with her too. Simple skills like starting a fire, keeping heat on in a closed area, that kind of thing. Right? I don't want to go back to the tribal days where we're all wearing, fur pelts and hunting saber-toothed cats, but I think you get the point. So,
I think we were happier when we did that.
well, life was kind of predictable, but the thing of tools too, guys. If you got tools and you've got some skill to use them, even better. You can always trade labor for items as well, right? Okay, wintertime. Okay, well, I'll shovel your snow for you if, let's say, you give me 10 liters of gasoline or a few liters of alcohol or some naphtha or some butane or whatever, back and forth. Simple things like that, right? Without breaking your bank or breaking someone else's bank or having someone try to break your bank, right? Cooking is a lost skill. Yes. Well, basic cooking, I think it is. People always want these Gordon Ramsays and they want these great chefs and extraordinaires. And it's like, well, how to cook a steak properly, how to cook potatoes properly, how to cook vegetables properly. I was trained to steam them, not always boil them. You steam the vegetables so you can still get the nutrients out of it. You boil potatoes because they're a very resilient food, right? But when you're cooking meat, you either broil it or you grill it, right? Simple baking skills, the stuff that you're taught from your ancestors, from your grandparents to you to whomever. My sister, to this day, regardless how busy she is, she always finds time to bake some great bread, and she does raspberry preserves. Great job. Fantastic. Right? She learned that from my mother, and my mother learned it from my grandmother. So simple things like that. There are tons of homestead cookbooks out there you can get that keep things simple. And that's the thing, the simplicity. It doesn't take much to have a good plate of food with your family. It doesn't take much. Just skill and patience. Well, basic skill and a lot of patience. We'll say that. So
Making your own bread and pasta is a good way to. Well, it's a good skill to have if things get bad. You know what I mean?
Oh, of course. Yes, Jilly. Start a show. Start a cooking show.
I'll watch it.
Right? Outstanding.
I know how to cook, which is good to know. I know enough to get by.
Well, it's the thing. Sue Kozakowski, 40 years of doing the culinary skills, teach teens when they leave home, know how to cook Lisa. Well, see, that's the thing. When I was in high school, I was taught home ec, right? There's stuff I was already taught at home too, but it was redefined in home ec, how to bake a loaf of bread, how to make, how to boil spaghetti, how to boil macaroni, how to make this, how to make that, how to make your own butter. Wow. Who does that anymore? Honestly. You just need some decent cream and a lot of patience and strong wrists. Churn the butter, right? No innuendo. No innuendo. That's how it's done.
Crusty just goes, I made some movies I wasn't proud of.
Watch Crusty churn the butter.
Don't give me. Don't do it.
No pun, ladies and gentlemen. Anyhow, we'll take a few more questions before we shut it down this evening. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I want to especially thank everyone who has come out to my last live stream when I was with Fred there Thursday night. Thank you very much. I am very grateful and honored that you give me your presence every time I put out a podcast and a live stream too. In the next little while, like I said, I'm going to be doing some videos with my podcast. You get to see the best of both worlds. Just a matter of understanding the tech that goes into it, but I think I've got it nailed for now. Hey, William, how you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for the, William Ray. Yes. Hello, Crusty. Great tan. Thank you. I was only outside for a few minutes, but yes, my pasty figure is getting to more of the tropical look. Yes, thank you. But as I say, ladies and gentlemen, please consider join the page and subscribe and donate too if you can. And for my YouTube fans out there, please click like, subscribe, and share this all over the place too. Help our algorithm get bigger so more people can reach out and see other points of view and maybe get the incentive to create their own channel and get their words out there too. So please click like, subscribe, and share this all over the place too. One of my guest panelists tonight is Fred Stockman. He will now be a regular on the Sunday Fastball every Sunday. Please tune into that with myself, Adam Daniel Mezei, Chris Semchuk, and other guests as they come. Please consider joining the page and subscribing today. Without people like you, these shows would be relevant, and you guys are wonderful. I'm very, very thankful that I have an audience base such as yourselves. So please consider that today, ladies and gentlemen. GDR says, I've been talking to doing things your grandpa should have taught you type basics show, building repairs, woodcraft. Yeah, that'd be a great idea. That would be, people get this idea that every time you pick up a saw or a hammer and some nails, that you have to be super, super qualified to be a
No,
carpenter. No, see, that's the thing. Like when it comes to, let's say, putting a picture frame or finding a stud in a wall, okay, you can do it with a stud finder, but it also depends on your hearing too, right? But it also depends what kind of wall you have. Do you have a steel frame or do you have an actual 2x4 or 2x6 wooden frame? It varies, right? It varies. So little things, and that'd be a good idea, GDR. I'd back that up for sure. For sure. Yeah. So it'd be a really good show. Yeah. Jeremy Jackson, great visualization. Was that in regards to turning the butter? Dirty bugger.
Out there is like wanting to put together a show. Just like reach out to one of us and we can help you send some folks your way if you need a few more.
By all means, And too, ladies and gentlemen, I am recently in the look for some sponsors too. So if you own a small business, if you have some products you'd like me to advertise on the podcast, let me know via email. I'll put it at the bottom of the screen here for you too. So reach me at CrustyBCanuck67@gmail.com. My rates are pretty reasonable. For a 1-minute ad, I'll only charge $20. For a 30-second ad, $10. I can run both ads on my show anytime you like. Please let me know if you want me to sponsor your product. I'm more willing to. Julie Davis says, too, the more Canadian vloggers, the better, especially like mine type. Yes, especially the ones that want freedom and prosperity and not utopia, but just reality. That's a good thing, So no worries, Chris. Yeah, no worries, Chris. It's all good. Yes, we understand. Well, your neighbor needs a hand. Give your neighbor a hand. That's the thing. That's one of my mottos too. Look out for your friends and loved ones and give your neighbors a hand if they need it, kind of thing, right? So that's a good thing. Want to sell weed? Well, sure. Because black market weed is a hell of a lot better than government-sponsored weed. More fun, right?
Be the name of the company. Just black market weed. I think
exactly.
That'd be such good marketing.
Black market weed, yeah. Just write it like the Little Rascals, right? And that kind of, if you're right-handed, write with your left hand. See how it turns out. And that'll be your label, right?
Draw like an animated weed, like a marijuana leaf, and then just like put a hoodie on it. Have it holding like a little paper bag.
That could work. That could work very well.
Put that on the packaging. Yeah.
Definitely. Well, let's see. Do you have anything last to say there, Fred, before we sign off?
Be a knight in an age of few knights. Be a man among men. Just live the extraordinary ordinary. Right
on.
Stuff, yeah.
That's good. And where can the fans of the show find you per se?
Right now on YouTube, basically.
Okay.
As long as I stay there until they probably squash my stuff. They send me like an email every once in a while, and they're like, you can't say that. We took down that video. So.
Okay, sure thing. Well, there'll be a headline at the end of the show too with your name and where they can find you as well as Chris Semchuk and Adam Mezei and myself, Crusty Canuck. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another Sunday Fastball with myself, Crusty Canuck, Fred Stockman. Chris Semchuk was here, and in spirit, Adam Mezei. Next week, same time, 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Please tune into that. And like I said, this Thursday, there is no fastball. I'm working. But I'll try to get another episode of the podcast out for you all too. Sometime either Tuesday or possibly Friday. So tune into that. Thank you once again to the panel, as always, for the Sunday Fastball. Great conversation. Get the word out. And please, ladies and gentlemen, consider liking, subscribing, and sharing this content all over the place. You tell 2 friends, they tell 2 friends, so on and so on. Just click like and share and subscribe if you can too, if you haven't done already. I have been Crusty Canuck on this beautiful 16th of May, and with my co-host and other panelist, Fred Stockman. Do what you can to help each other out in these trying times. We will find light in these manufactured darkness tunnels. And remember, humanity and merit wins the day. Take care, and thank you all for joining us. Bye for now.